What's up? Thanks for joining me this week. It's T-SQL Tuesday number 104, the Roundup video. So last week, people in the community all wrote about the same topic, about what code would you hate to live without. And today we're basically going to go over everyone's responses. At first I was a little nervous that wouldn't get a lot of responses with it being, July and the holidays that were going on and lots of people taking summer vacation, but we ended up with 42 separate posts about the topic, so thank you to everyone who participated. So without further ado, let me go through all these posts. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name. Stuart Moore shares his need to automatically test restores and how he wrote a PowerShell module for that. Nowadays it's incorporated into DBA tools, which is just a great example of how community code development, can benefit everyone. Arthur Daniels shares his script for identifying key columns and included columns of indexes. Glenn Berry shares his DMV diagnostic queries and the history behind how he started building them. Jason Brimhall links to multiple scripts that he shared in the past, as well as a new script for remotely catching SQL Server intruders red-handed. Doug Purnell talks about how he manages database snapshots and some code that he uses for automating that. Shout out to Jay Robinson, another C# developer. He shares two scripts with us, one for checking whether a value exists in an enumeration, and another one that handles the terrible DB null syntax that you have to do for dealing with nulls in C#. It's actually really cool. Drew Ferguel shares a script for recreating indexes after snapshot replication. He also shows us a PowerShell version of how to only do it in 6 lines of code. Tim Weigel shares which community scripts he used the most, as well as his own scripts for stored procedure executions and file manipulation. Hugo Cornelis shares 2 scripts. The first is SP Metasearch, which he uses to help him with his impact analysis. And the second one is a modification on Ola Hallengren's maintenance scripts to not deal with BizTalk database backups. Andy Mallon shares his script for checking database file log sizes. The cool thing about his post is that he does a great job explaining why he wrote queries a certain way or why he chose to use certain DMVs. Dan Clemens shares his database search script, which includes a switch for whether or not you want to search SQL agent jobs. Jess Pomfret wrote a script that shows database compression stats for objects. Wanting to run it across the entire instance or even across multiple servers, she then wrote a DBA tools command to automate that for her. Kenneth Fisher shares how he organizes his toolbox of scripts that he can't live without by using an SSMS solution. Rob Farley shows us some code that he uses to demo with what can go wrong when using no-lock. Steve Jones shares a procedure from Microsoft that he uses for transferring logins and passwords between instances. Kevin Hill shares 2 scripts for finding low-hanging index optimization fruit. One for finding queries that perform heap or clustered index scans, and another for finding the top 5 missing indexes per database. Michael Villegas found out that you can't look at roles and permissions in Azure SQL, at least through a graphical interface. So he wrote a script to find that information, and it works on on-prem SQL as well. Nate Johnson shares 3 scripts on whether SSRS descriptions are running, if tables are being replicated, and how much space certain files and objects are consuming. William Andrus shares a script that searches for similarly named pieces of text in the database. I shared a template for generating dynamic table-driven queries, making your queries more adaptable to future changes. Rudy Rodarte shows us a script that he uses to iterate over date ranges for using in date-based queries. Brent Ozar admits he'd hate to live without SP Blitz, but this time he shares a script to check how much execution plan cache history exists on a server. Jeff McClar shows a solution for taking all databases in an instance offline and then back online again. Eric Darling offers a solution on how to make sure your varchar max variables don't get truncated when populating them with dynamic SQL. He also links to a cool script for printing long strings in SSMS. Chrissy Lemaire takes the hard work out of instance-to-instance migrations by sharing her DBA tools commandlet that does it for you automatically. She also shows us how DBA checks can be used to automate manual checklists. Glenda Gable offers 2 stored procedures, one that's a high-performance cursor rewrite, and another that's a logs shipping solution. Aaron Bertrand shows us how he discovers new features in SQL Server by comparing new builds to previous versions. Ryan Desmond writes about his post-installation configuration process, and specifically about how he configures Ola Hallengren's maintenance scripts for his new servers. Josh Samar shares his database file size code that's optimized for very large databases that span multiple files or file groups. Sander Stad writes about the importance of sharing code and shares a few DBA tools commands that he's written around log shipping and SQL Server agent jobs. Andy Levy shares some code that he wrote to automatically generate cursors. Before you get mad at him, he has a really good use case for why he needs to use them. Andy Yun shares what's in his T-SQL toolbox, how he organizes it, and kind of what he's collected in the past 10 years of scripts. Eduardo Peveral shares a script that he uses to take the output of a query and format it as an HTML table, making it easy to copy into an email. Raul Gonzalez shows us a versatile script for searching table attributes such as column name, key name, size, and more. Matthew McGiffin wanted to find the most expensive queries on a database using Query Store instead of the traditional DMBs, so he wrote a script to do just that. Daniel Hatmacher offers a beefed up version of SP Help that includes ASCII dependency graphs and the ability to search. Christian Grafer provides a function to pad the left side of a number with zeros. Adrian Buckman shares his SQL Undercover Inspector HTML reporting tool. He also includes some scripts for altering availability groups, check to see if jobs are running, and auditing failed logins. Lewis Davidson shares his technique for using relative positioning to make querying custom date ranges like company fiscal year a lot easier. And finally, drumroll please, Lance England shares a PowerShell script that he wrote to automatically generate merge upsert statements for his ETLs. Once again, thank you all for participating in T-SQL Tuesday this month. I had a lot of fun reading everyone's posts, and I can't wait to try out some of these scripts on my own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.